This video explains how to apply the is.data.frame and as.data.frame functions in the R programming language. So without too much talk, let's dive into the R code. In this video I will show you several examples, and for the first example we first need to create an example matrix, as you can see in line 2 of the code. So after running this line of code, a new matrix object called mat is appearing at the top right, and we can print this matrix at the bottom in the RStudio console by running line 3 of the code. And then you can see that we have created a matrix containing 4 rows and 4 columns. Now let's assume that we don't know the class of this data object yet, and we want to know if this data object is a data frame. Then we could apply the is.data.frame function, as you can see in line 5 of the code. And within this function we simply need to specify the name of the data object that we want to check. So after running line 5 of the code, the logical indicator false is returned at the bottom in the RStudio console. And the reason for that is that our data object is not a data frame because it is a matrix. Now let's assume that we want to convert our matrix object to the data frame class. Then we can apply the as.data.frame function, as you can see in line 7. And in this case I'm storing the output of the as.data.frame function in a new data object that I'm calling data1. So after running line 7 of the code, this new data object is appearing at the top right, and we can print our data object by running line 8 of the code. And then you can see that the values in this data set are the same as in our input matrix. However, the structure is a little bit different, so you can see row names and column names. Now, if we want to check once again the class of our new data object, we can apply the is.data.frame function, as you can see in line 10. So after running this line of code, the logical indicator true is returned, which tells us that we are now dealing with a data frame object. So in this first example, I have explained how to check whether a data object is a data frame and how to convert a data object to the data frame class. However, in the first example, I have used a matrix, but we can also apply the is.data.frame and as.data.frame functions to other data types. And in the next example, I want to show you how to apply the as.data.frame function to a Tibble object. And for this, we first need to install and load the dplyr package, as you can see in lines 12 and 13. I have installed the package already, so for that reason I'm just going to load it using line 13 of the code. And then in the next step, we could use the as.tibble function to convert our data frame to the Tibble class, as you can see in line 15 of the code. So after running this line of code, a new Tibble called tibb is appearing at the top right. And we can print this Tibble to the bottom in the RStudio console by running line 16 of the code. And then you can see that we have converted our data set to a Tibble. We can also check the class of this new data object using the class function, as you can see in line 18 of the code. And then you can see that this new data object is a Tibble. And now let's assume that we want to convert this Tibble back to the data frame class. Then we can apply once again the as.data.frame function, and we store the output of the as.data.frame function in another data object that I'm calling data2. I'm also printing this data object by running line 21 to the bottom, and then you can see that our data frame looks exactly the same as our input data frame. And we can also check the class of this new data object using the class function, and then you can see that we have converted our Tibble object back to the data frame class. That's all I wanted to explain in this video. In case you want to learn more on this topic, you may check out my homepage statisticsglobe.com, because on my homepage I have recently published a tutorial in which I'm explaining the content of this video in some more detail. I will put a link to this tutorial into the description of the video, so you can find it there. If you have liked this video, or if you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. I'll try to respond to all comments as soon as I can. Furthermore, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified about future video releases. I have already published about 500 videos on this channel, and I'm releasing new videos on a daily basis. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next video.